make sure that you are in, yeah, here we go. We started the recording. And if you are keeping your camera on, make sure that you are sitting in a very comfortable position that should not distract others. If you are taking a decision to switch off, it's up to you. And I would recommend all of you to keep your Zoom into a speaker's view. On the right top, you can see the view. You can click it and select the speaker's view so that you can experience the workshop in a better way. And if you have any questions, definitely you are attending a CPD workshop. All of you will be having a lot of questions. You can send all your questions in the chat room, chat message box, so that all your questions will be moderated by, we have Simon with us, one of our executive committee member. He will be moderating all the questions. At the end of the workshop, all your questions will be answered. And after a few minutes, maybe around 10 to 15 minutes, we'll be locking this workshop for a security purpose. I'm sure it is going to be one of the very good interactive session. And to conduct this session, we have a gentleman. Most of you are aware about him. He was the professional development officer for our IOSH Qatar branch for the last term. And most of our executive committee members were interested to continue him to be a professional development officer for this term also. So we have Mr. Michael with us, who is our professional development officer, who will be taking us through the CPD workshop. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Venkat. Good afternoon. Venkat has already done the introduction, so let's get straight to business. Before we start, I would want to do sort of like an agenda to give everyone an idea of what we are going to go through today in this workshop. Okay, we'll be talking, first of all, once I stop now, I'll be playing a video which has already been recorded by Emlyn. Emlyn is IOSH Professional Development Coordinator. We prepared this video to make sure that we have we are consistent in the information we give out, okay? So, but never mind, regardless, I'll still give more explanation because you won't be able to ask the presenter anything during the video. So after the video, I'll still give more explanation, touch one or two areas, okay? To make sure that all your queries are being tackled even before we get to the question and answer section. Then there's a new thing I'll be adding. We'll be having like 2 CPD activities, whereby I will show you what one looks like, an actual CPD activity. Then if we have time, I might want one or two of us to prepare a very quick one, send in the screen, then we'll read out to be sure that people understood what was taught, both in the video, practical demonstration, and my own explanation, okay? Now, one good thing I've done for today, which I believe everyone will appreciate, because a lot of times we get questions asking us about things you can use as CPD activities. Now, I've made that easy for everyone. I've got a list right in front of me, which I prepared a few hours ago. I'll list it out to everyone. If you can write it down, fine. Even if you're not able to get a word, I'll type it. We'll send it out through our medium of communication, okay? So that's one very important thing, whereby I'll be needing all of us to have your pen and paper by the side, or you can type directly on your system. Then we move further to, we'll be giving a bit of CPD audit advice, which already will be covered during the presentation and the explanation, but I'll just have to hit on the key points. So for those of us who are going through the category transfer process, you should be able to know what a CPD should look like, and which will give you a pass once the audit is done, okay? Then we'll talk a bit about the IOSH interactive planner, which is what will help you, like, it's like a reminder for some of us who don't really have the time to start gathering their activities. That it's something that will guide you for you to start organizing yourself even before you start putting the actual stuff. So we'll talk a bit about that. Then we will now say one or two things about the IOSH blueprint. That's the self-assessment tool, which will also help you as well. When you do a self-assessment, it's like a gap analysis, which you conduct using that checklist, and then you should be able to upload that as well as part of your development plan. Then finally, we'll move down to the question and answer section. I bet you, if you concentrate and give all your time to this 45-minute video, which will be played now, covering the CPD presentation and the demonstration, you will realize that whatever potential question you will have might be answered. Otherwise, definitely it will be captured during my explanation. Okay, so.
A little bit of background about myself. Before I became a branch coordinator, I was a professional development coordinator. So I helped with CPD, IPD, chartered membership and fellowship and everything that sort of entailed with that. So today we're going to talk about your CPD. So why are you doing CPD? So we know for a fact there are many good reasons as to why we complete our CPD. It's all about reflecting on your learning and working, and it's a way of keeping an eye on your skills, your knowledge and expertise, and it's a brilliant way of showing and conveying to employers and prospective employers that you're serious about maintaining your core skills and learning new information. So within IOSH we have students, affiliates, associates, technical, graduate, chartered and chartered fellows. For those of you who are students, affiliate and associate members, CPD, you don't actually have to complete it, but you do have the opportunity and you can access this. For those of you who are technical, graduate, chartered and chartered fellows, you are bound by the code of conduct to complete your CPD, so it is essential for you. So what is CPD? It's continual professional development. So it's core principle of modern professional practice. It enables public confidence in IOSH professionals, and it is available to all members. So what will CPD do for you? So there are many things that CPD can do for you. So it's a brilliant way of reflecting, understanding your skills, where your expertise, what your strengths and weaknesses. And it's a brilliant way of utilising the programme so you can convey to your employers that you are keeping an eye on your core professional skills. What are you learning? What are you figuring out your strengths and weaknesses? How are you overcoming this? So there are 4 stages to a successful CPD record. So you've got plan, which is the development plan. Doing, so do your activities that you've completed. Reflect, so you're reflecting on your learning. And reviewing, so you're evaluating what you've actually been doing, how this can help you going forward within your career. So with your development plan, this is when you're looking and thinking about what your future goals and objectives, a bit of a summary about yourself, so your strengths and weaknesses, and any opportunities going forward. The activities, so that's what you physically have been doing, which you feel are relevant to your development plan. Reflecting, so you're considering on what you actually learned from completing the activity. So what did you gain? Was there anything that you could utilise? Is there anything that you gained from completing that activity that can overcome a weakness that you've identified previously? And evaluating, so reviewing, so what have you actually done within the activity that you can take forward within your professional career? So any learning skills, any new opportunities that you've learned, any sort of new information, how can you put that forward and utilise it within your career? So there are two main sections to your CPD. So for those of you that have already started and been maintaining your CPD, will know you've got the development plan and then you've got your CPD activities. So for those of you that have never entered in or have lost touch with your CPD, the development plan is a summary about yourself. So it's, you're talking about your job title, your job role, your health and safety responsibilities, your strengths and weaknesses, and your goals and objectives. So your development plan is always going to be a summary about yourself. So with the development plan, you want to update it every 6 to 12 months. And it's always going to be one activity rather than several. So your CPD activities. Now your CPD activities will come from and be identified within your development plan, because a lot of your activities will be the goals and objectives that you gave yourself previously. But your activities are when you've actually completed it, and they go into a separate section and you're reflecting on it in a little bit more detail than what you did in your development plan. So in your CPD, you're going to want to do a reflective account. Now, we're not looking for war and peace, but we are looking at more than one sentence. So there are 4 simple questions that you just need to answer when you're entering into your CPD. So what was the activity? So what did you actually physically do? Why did you carry this out? Now, there can be many reasons as to why you did that. What have you gained from what was the understanding and knowledge that you gained from completing the activity, and how can you take it forward within your professional career? So what are you planning to do with that new knowledge? Is it maintaining your core skills? Are you going to utilize it because you've got new responsibilities? Like what are you doing with that information? Now, when you're entering into your CPD, we are looking at you completing a minimum of 6 CPD activities within a 12-month time span, and to update your development plan every 6 to 12 months. Now, if you wish to enter more than 6 CPD activities, you certainly can, but that is the minimum requirement. I do get a lot of questions regarding what can actually be an activity. Now, there isn't really any right or wrong answer on how to enter into your CPD. It's what you're gaining from it, but there are many different activities that you can do. So it could be work-based learning, so it could be something within your job role that you're physically doing. It could be a professional activity, it could be a qualification, so like a degree or something like that. We've got formal learning qualification, and then self-directed learning could be something that you're doing off your own back. Now, the CPD activities actually don't have to physically be health and safety. So it could be that within your job role, you've been asked to go onto a computer course. So you need to learn a bit about Excel because it's going to be quite key within your job role. So it could be a computer course. You could be managing people, mentoring people outside of your job role or within your job role, but it isn't your role, but that's a transferable skill because you might need to utilize it going forward. It could be a presentation course. So your new responsibility could be, say, for example, you have to talk and give presentations to key stakeholders within your job role. So it doesn't have to be within health and safety. However, the activity does help you towards your professional development. And it doesn't have to be a paid learning either. So you don't have to physically pay to actually put something into your CPD like a qualification. You could also go on to conferences. It could be a series of webinars. You could be reading something from the HSE website. It could be from the IOSH magazine, these sort of things. So there's many different things that you can do that can be classed as an activity. What we want to see is what you're gaining from it. How is this helping you? Why are you doing this activity? So there are many different support avenues that are offered to you when completing the CPD. So a main one would be going to your branches, the workshops, you know, your mentors, asking questions, seeing if you can get help. You can also you can also call IOSH, so the customer service centre, the professional development team, they can answer any questions regarding your CPD. We also do have CPD guidance documents, which you can ask for, and we can send this out to you. And this can support you on how to complete your development plan, what should be in a CPD, and it can advise you on any sort of what happens in a CPD audit. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through a demonstration with you. If you've got any questions, please hold fire. The reason why is because the demonstration might answer these questions for you. Okay, so for those of you that have never entered into your CPD and you wish to start, the way to access it is you go onto the IOSH website, My IOSH, you scroll down to the bottom and you click enter My IOSH, and then you just log in. And then you'll click on My CPD. And what will happen is this page will come up and you'll have a yellow flashing box. For those of you that enter into your CPD already will not have this yellow flashing box. So what you need to do first is when you're entering into your CPD for the first time ever is create a development plan. So what you need to do is click add new activity. And you'll come to this activity page. Now the activity pages are always the same. So if you're entering into your development plan or you're creating a new activity, it will always look like this. So when you're entering into your development plan, all you need to do is class the title as development plan. And it'll always be this title. Now your development plan will have the status as started and it'll always be started. Now the reason why that is because it is a rolling document. It will never be finished. You'll always be updating it. The start date will need to be the date you started entering it in, so today. And as I said earlier, with the development plan, it's 6 to 12 months that you need to enter it in. So for those of you, you might want to put it in for a 6-month time frame. You certainly can. For others, they might just want to put it as a yearly time frame. And in the development plan notes, you're going to discuss about yourself. So as I said earlier, the development plan is a summary all about you. So you're going to talk about your job title, your health and safety responsibilities, your strengths and weaknesses, goals and objectives going on for the next 6 to 12 months. Now your strengths and weaknesses, you're going to want to be honest with yourself because this is where the CPD is quite key and it's helpful to you because it's a way of identifying what are your strengths and what your weaknesses. So do be honest with yourself because then you can sort of aim and think about how you want to overcome those weaknesses and also how to utilize your strengths. So with the goals and objectives, as I said, this is where you're going to identify your CPD activities. So your goals and objectives, they can be personal or they can be work related. They could be both. It could be a mixed bag. It's dependent on what you want to enter in. So some of the goals could be personal. So say, for example, if you're planning to do a qualification, that could be a goal. It could be a project within work. You have an end date, you've got a plan, a project plan in place. It could be anything like that. It could be that you wish to aim for a promotion. As I said, it could be work related, personal, or both. Now, you can also upload files. So some of you might be sitting there thinking, well, I've already actually got a development plan and I actually did this with my manager. Now, if you do have that, you can certainly upload it and use it as part of the evidence. If you do decide to use it, just make sure that your organisation is happy for you to share and upload that development plan that you have with your role onto an external site. And if you decide to use that, all you need to do is put in the notes field, just put a few sentences about yourself, and then you can state that your goals and objectives are attached. What I would say is, before you attach anything onto a CPD record, you make sure you've entered into your notes. Then you're going to want to assign it to an activity type, and then you're going to want to click save. The reason why is because the internet can be a funny thing. And if you're uploading a document, you know, the internet could kick you out, it could freeze, you just don't know. And what could happen is, if that does happen, you could lose everything that you put into your CPD activity and you would have to start again. So what I would say is click save. Go back to your development plan, click on the title development plan. And you just need to click upload files. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this screen's being shared, or it might be grayed out. But once you click upload files, it will come up with another external web page, and it will have submit files, browse. It also does state that each uploaded file cannot exceed 5 megabytes. So when you're planning to upload something to your development plan or your CPD activities, please ensure you do not exceed that file. The reason why is because, first off, it won't attach to the website, to the activity, and it could potentially freeze your computer. And then if you haven't saved your activity or your development plan, you'll lose it and you'll need to start again. So when you've completed and uploaded the file, you've chosen the files, and make sure you click on the correct file when you're browsing. You just need to click upload file. And what will happen, where it says documentation, in this box here, you'll have like a hyperlink appear, and it'll be your file. Now, when you assign activity type, the development plan and diary will always be section A. It won't be under anything else. And then you will see underneath here, you've got B, C, and D. And those 3 sections are for your activities. And once you're happy with it, you just click save. And what you'll see is that it's slotted into your development plan and diary. You also notice that you have a start, end date, status, and type activity. Now, as I said earlier, with the development plan, it is an ongoing document. It's a live document. You're going to keep updating it. So when you want to come and update it, you just click on the title. You will change the start and end date, because then it will convey to the people auditing your CPD when you re-entered it in. You are not going to delete anything that you originally put in the notes field. What you're going to do is, I would suggest you enter in the date of when you've re-entered into it. So say, for example, it was a year ahead. You put in that date and you can then update it. Now, when you're updating your development plan, you don't necessarily have to enter in your job title, your health and safety responsibilities, strengths and weaknesses again. The reason why is because it might not have changed. But for those of you who have got a new job, a new role, or new responsibilities, that's when you're going to want to enter the information again. It's so we can keep track on what you're actually doing and how you progressed. But for those of you who don't need to do that, all you need to do is talk about your goals and objectives again. So go back to your goals and objectives you originally set out for yourself. Did you accomplish them? If you did, you can say, I have completed this. And then you'll have a CPD activity on the reflective part of the goal and objective. And then you're going to enter into some new goals and objectives, or any of them that have been extended. And you'll keep updating it like this. And all you'll ever need to do is click save. Once you've done that. Now, when you want to enter into a CPD activity, what you'll do is where it says plan, my development plan and diary, on the right hand side, you'll see add new activity. You just need to click add new activity. As I said earlier, the activity pages are always the same regardless if you're doing a development plan or an activity page. So the title, you're going to want to actually put what you actually physically did. So what's the title of the activity? So what did you do? So it could be a webinar. The status is always going to be finished because you're reflecting on an activity that you've already done. The start and end date, you're always going to want to make sure this is accurate. So if it was a 1-day activity, you're going to put down in that date. If it took several days, a few weeks, you're just going to want to make sure that time frame is correct so we can see how long this activity has taken you. And in the notes field, this is where you're going to reflect on the activity. So you're going to talk about what did you do? Why did you do it? What did you gain from it? How can you take it forward within your professional career? The way you lay out your notes is entirely up to you. You could lay it out like those 4 questions and then do a couple of sentences on each question underneath the question. So like that, and then just put something about it. Or you could do it in a paragraph where you don't actually physically have typed up the questions, but you're answering it and we can read that and see that. So it's entirely up to you how you wish to lay out your CPD reflective account, but we do want you to answer those 4 questions. Again, if you wish to upload any sort of evidence that you feel is relevant to your CPD activity, you certainly can. You just need to click on upload files. Again, remember, I would enter into the CPD activity first, assign it an activity type, save, and then upload afterwards. Again, the reason why, because if the internet is being funny for any particular reason, it could kick you out, or if you've uploaded a file that exceeds the file size, you might lose what you've entered in. And again, that is a very frustrating thing and we don't want that to happen. So once you've uploaded your files that you think is relevant, and then you'll save it. So when you assign it the activity type, how you assign it to an activity type is entirely up to you. So as you can see, we have 3. We've got maintenance of skills, new professional skills, transferable management skills. So maintenance of skills, so that's maintaining your core professional skills. So those are the skills that you started with in the workforce. New professional skills is any sort of new information that you've gained. So it could be like a qualification, you're reading an article, you've gone to a conference, you sat at a presentation, webinar, HSC website, things like that. Transferable management skill is, again, it isn't health and safety related, but those key skills that you've learned from the activity is transferable and you can use it within your professional development. So as I said earlier, like mentoring, managing, computer skills, things like that. Now, when it comes to assigning an activity type, you can do multiples rather than single. So it could be, say for example, a webinar, it could be information that you already knew. So it's a refresh on your key skills, but you've learned something new as well. So it could be 2. Or say, for example, if you were doing a computer course, it could be, you know, maintaining your skills that you did have regarding like your computer skills. But again, it was learning new information, but it was also a transferable skill. So you could put all 3 down. Or if the activity was purely, say, for example, like a risk assessment, it could just be maintaining your core skills. It could just be to 1. So it's entirely up to you how you assign it. It's what you feel is relevant. So all you need to do would be click save. And then what you'll see is under B, maintenance of skills, and C, new professional skills is here. The activity has entered there. Now, if you've completed the activity and then you just think, actually, I could have reflected a little bit more, I wanted to put on this, all you need to do is click on the title, enter in, update the notes field, and then click save. Now, the layout of the actual web page, you can see at the top. So you have the option to expand all sections. So it will expand all sections for you. Ones that will collapse all sections. You have the print option, then you've got the download all. You will notice that on each activity title next to it, there is a button. Now this is a download function. If you wish to download the CPD activity as in just a single one, all you need to do is click on that button and it will download as a PDF file and it'll come up in a separate page. If you wish to download all, and that means all of the activities that you've entered into your CPD record, you'll click download all. What I would say though is if you've been entering your CPD for a very long time and you have a lot of activities, you might not want to do that because it could take a while and potentially freeze your computer. But for single activities, you just need to click on that. Now, this can be utilised within your performance review. So if you have a performance review or a yearly meeting where you talk about what you've done within the year with your manager and you need to provide proof and evidence and you're reflecting what you've completed, this CPD activity could be utilised in that way because you could just download the file on the activity that you did with the reflective count and you can use it as an option to show your manager how you reflected on that particular piece of work and what have you done to take it forward. So you could use the CPD activity to help within your job role as well. Now, if you look further down, as you can see, we have maintenance of skills, new professional skills, transferable skills, and we also have completed with no assigned activity type. That means that an activity you've created, you've entered all the information in, but you might have missed off assigning the activity type, or there might have been a reason as to why. I don't know, regarding with the internet, it might not have saved your assigned new activity. So regarding that, that does happen. So you've saved it, you haven't assigned an activity type. All you need to do is, if you can't find it in those three boxes, then it could predominantly be in the completed no assigned activity type. So always check. So to assign an activity type, all you need to do is click on the title presentation or the title of what the activity is, and then click on which one you want to assign it to. Click save, and then you'll see that your activity has gone into the section that you wanted it to. Now, sometimes I tried to do this the other day in a previous presentation, but I couldn't duplicate it. An activity could be duplicated. I'm not entirely sure why that happens. I did try and replicate that, but it didn't work. So if your CPD activity does get duplicated by accident, We can't delete an activity. However, we can make it aware for anyone who's auditing your CPD record that it's not a valid record, CPD activity. So all you need to do is, if you wish to get rid of a duplication, you click on the duplication activity that you don't want, you click on the title, and you click on the status, cancelled. And you just need to click save. So what will happen is, if you go right down to the bottom where it says cancelled activities, you can see they will slot there. And what that will say to the person who's auditing your CPD is that any activities, put in cancelled activities, it's not valid. You also notice on the status part that you do have planned and started activities. Now, these are the activities that you haven't completed. So you have planned activities. These are the ones that you're potentially planning to do, but you actually haven't started it. So if you wish to enter into your CPD record and put it in your planned, what you would need to do is you just create the new activity, put in the title of your planned activity, the status planned, the dates of when you think you're going to be doing it, put a few notes, a few sentences on what you're planning to do, and then you click save. And what will happen is it will slot into this activity here. Now, once you've planned it or started it and completed it, if you wish to move that planned activity to one of the 3 sections or a combination of them, you just need to click on the title, change the status to finished, enter into your reflective account, then assign an activity type, and then save it, and then add any sort of upload documents that you wanted to accompany with the activity. And it will be the same for started activities. So started activities are the ones that you actually physically started to do. So once you've completed it, just click on the title, change it to finished, you assign an activity type, put some information in there, a reflective account. So what did you do? Why did you do it? What did you gain from it? How can you take it forward within your career? And then you click save. And what will happen is that you can see it's gone on to that section that you've allocated it to. If you feel that the activities in planned and started that you inputted in haven't gone to plan and you're actually not going to do it, it's the same principle. You just need to click on the title and then change the status to cancelled, click save, and it will just go onto the cancelled section. Now, not many people will be able to access your CPD, so it would be yourself, anyone you speak to within IOSH if you need help, and those who actually audit it. So when you're entering into your CPD, be as honest as you can. The reason why is because it's there to help you. If you wish for other people to have a look at it, that is entirely up to you. But the only people that would actually look at your CPD record are yourself, anyone you call within IOSH, so for the customer service centre or the professional development team to have a look at it. Okay. So that is the demonstration and the presentation.
That's the end of the video presentation. Although Emily is not here, but anyway, thank you in absentia for that. Before we continue, there's something I want to show because the video, I would say it's more like a generic, generic information, basic of what you need to know in all aspects of going about your CPD activity. I'm going to show you something because Emily mentioned something about you typing while you're working on your activity. Then when you try to upload a file, then everything disappears due to faulty or issues with your internet. So I'll tell you, there's something I've done. Let me share this with you to give you an idea of what it looks like. Yes, this is what I normally do before going to the IOSH microsite to update my CPD, okay? That's the questions Emily was asking. What the activity was, why you carried out the activity, what you learned or gained from the activity, then how you will use the knowledge or skills you've gained in the future that's going forward. So I normally prepare this on a separate page. Then I go to the microsite. So in case, if while on the microsite trying to update my CPD and upload my evidence and the internet cuts me off, it's not going to be a problem because I already have it saved. Because what you're typing is coming from your head, right? So you might not really get the exact same thing which you've typed before. So to save yourself that headache, I would advise you have your one page whereby you first of all work on your CPD. Then when you finish, you copy it onto the microsite, okay? And see what it looks like. If you can go through this with me briefly, see what the activity was. That's the activity, fire prevention safety awareness campaign. In bracket, then I put the date. So if it's a one-day activity, you might also want to put the time, okay? Then why you carried out the activity? What's the reason? Something must have triggered you to carry out a CPD activity or to say that a particular activity which you've done, you want to use this as your CPD. Remember, it's all about demonstrating that you are keeping up to the standard, professional confidence, and all that, okay? Now, you move forward to the third one, what you learned or gained from the activity. After doing the activity, what did you gain from doing that activity? For example, see what I gained from the fire safety prevention campaign. I realized that most of my site welders who are carrying out hot work activities started implementing 100% all the safety measures and safe system of work / procedures related to hot work activity. Use of permit. Again, these were the things we discussed during the fire safety campaign. So that means I actually gained something because I saw the feedback on site. That which you gained, it's what will go into that line. Okay? For me, I always go more in details. But for you, you might not really get this much. But again, it's not going to be one sentence. Okay? Then see the last one. How you will use it, what you've gained. So it depends on you. Now something triggered you to do that activity. After doing the activity, you gain something. Now you decide that you still want to continue with that. That's where you state it. See, I've said that I plan to continue with it because I've seen the positive impact in my project. So I want to keep doing that. Again, Emily mentioned something about how you want to classify your CPD activity, talking about maintenance of skill, new professional skill, and transferable management skill. This is where you show that you don't just write a CPD activity and you start selecting. If anyone you want to select, you will know beforehand and start writing your reflective account to point towards that direction. So if you want your reflective account to cover maintenance skills, new professional development skills or whatever, and transferable management skills, you have to write it to go in that direction. If you want, this is already maintenance, okay? May looking at what I've read out, it's already maintenance. And I can as well make this part of transferable skills. If I write something about teaching, let's say at the last part of it, I put something about teaching the guys how to do something, maybe how to use the fire extinguisher or what. That is, now I'm trying to transfer the knowledge I have on safe use of fire extinguisher to the guys, to the team. Then I can as well select it on that. Okay, that's a brief of what an actual CPD reflective account looks like. I also want to show you some of the ones we've done on the system, my own CPD account, and what I've done in the development plan to give you an idea. It's not a perfect one, but at least for you to appreciate what the whole scenario looks like. Okay. It has logged me out. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, see what Emlyn have, what he explained on the video. See, my development plan, it's a live document. So always it started, it doesn't finish. Mine finish on, I do this 6 months plan, 6-month development plan. That's how I go about my own, from January to June, then July to December. On the 30th of June, my first plan finished. Then I had to update my development plan. That is why you're seeing my end date as 31/12/2021. Now see what the inside looks like. Health and safety responsibilities. What I've just done here, it's after the first 2 lines says about the projects I've handled. It's same position, project HSE manager, so there's no difference, okay? But what I've done is just to mention the projects I've handled, followed by, let me say, a copy paste of my roles and responsibilities at work from my CV. That's what I've done there. My health and safety roles and responsibilities, okay? If you check, those are literally what I do on site. Now, my goals and objectives, the things I plan to achieve, the ones I achieve, the ones I will achieve, all of I plan to achieve in the near future within the next 6 months. This is what I've just written down under that goals and objectives. See what it looks like. See, I plan to be attending the monthly Qatar IOSH Branch meeting to boost my knowledge and awareness in health and safety. This is my goal. This is what I plan to achieve by attending that, okay? Now you move down. See, I also plan to conduct risk assessment, which will form part of the method statement submission. Things like that. These are practical things you do on site every day. The thing is this, as long as you're working on site, you're actually doing the job on site, you will not struggle going about CPD activities. Within a short while, I'm going to read out what activities you can use as CPDs. Then personal development. See, I plan to enroll in this. This, it's done. I just completed this, that first line, okay? But I've not, I'll show you that in a minute when we go to the CPD activity to give you an idea of what that is. Then my strengths and my weakness, okay? Then how I plan to, the skills or areas where I think I need to update or improve more. That's it. Then in the end, I had to attach my CV. This is what I did in my own development plan. So you might either decide to attach your CV to it or you don't, depending on whatever you think that will cover that. Another important evidence which you can attach is the IOSH, the self-assessment tool, blueprint self-assessment tool. If you fill up that self-assessment, the outcome, you can upload it here as part of your development plan, okay? And then that's it. You select A and save. Then let me show you something else here. Yeah. It's under started. The one of my personal development, things I said I want to achieve over the last 6 months. When I started it, I had to go there and start that activity. And that's it. When I started it, see, I started that on the March. And that's what it is. The title, MVP level 5, upgrade to level 6. And you have the start, you have the finish, started, and start date and end date. I just put this ended because I just finished it, but I've not updated this. But again, this is what it is. Okay, so now when I complete this, if you watch, I said it has started, and I mentioned so far on this line where I am so far. So it's currently ongoing. In case if someone has to audit this particular activity, they will know why it still started and why it has not finished. You see, looking forward looking forward to gain more by the time I finish the remaining 3 units. And that's it. So it's actually in progress. That means I've started it. So when I finish, which I've done, I'll have to complete this information and then change the status to finished. Okay, and then that's it for that one. Okay, that's one of the things I wanted to add there. Then based on what I've written, it's actually maintenance of skills for me, because this is part of my professional development, career CPD, continuous professional development. Okay, it's a course I've done. Then it's a new certificate I've just acquired. I don't have it before. So it's it also falls under item number C, new professional skills. I can use that because it's a new training which I've done. Transferable management skills. I can as well use it because the new knowledge I've acquired here, I can use it on site, implement it on site, and also teach people. For example, my safety team, the knowledge I gained from here, I can use that and teach them during meetings, during presentations. I can use the information I gained from the MVQ level 6 and implement that on site. So that's why I can comfortably select B, C, and D. The same thing applies to every other CPD activity. So again, it depends on what you write on that area. This determines what you will select. Okay. Now there's another question people normally ask. Emily explained this, but I just picked those few lines up. He said, maintenance skill, that is maintaining your core professional skills, which you have developed, and you are already using them to accomplish your day-to-day activity. Every day you go to work, you have something you do in the day. For example, your daily site inspections, weekly safety walks, okay? Review of risk assessments, review of your HSE plans and all that. You are maintaining your skills. So all of those things falls under this. Okay, then new professional skills, that any new information, it could be in form of training, it could be something you read online. Okay, that goes into that new professional skills. That any new information that you have gained, for example, qualifications, certifications, trainings, conference which you attended, webinars, okay, visit to HSE website, visit to IOSH website. Once it's a new information which you don't have before, that falls under that. Then transferable management skills. Like Emily said in the video, it's not necessarily health and safety related, but you can actually apply it to get your job done, to achieve your aim and your goals. For example, we do our reports, right? We do our monthly reports, accident investigation reports, all sorts of reports, minutes of meetings. This involves writing, listening, talking, and reading. Now, you feel you are not doing very well on that. You can as well go and do IELTS test. When you get that done, it falls under here. You can use it, okay, as both new professional skills and transferable management skills, because now what you've learned there, you will transfer it. That's why I said these key skills you have gained. Okay, these are key skills you have gained from various activities you engage yourself in, and is capable of being transferred down the line or can be used as part of your professional development. Yeah, example, mentoring. You can decide to mentor people, coach people. Managing, you can go and do a management course based on your level because you want to improve on your skill, on your management skills. Okay, language skills, computer skills, and things like that. So all of those things fall under this category. Now, the big one. If you have your pen and paper, I would want you to listen attentively to what I'm going to mention. I will try to explain a little bit as I mention it, okay? Because this is where the whole thing lies. We've been talking about CPD and all the, we've been talking about CPD activity and everything concerning it. But again, people still get confused. What activities can I use as CPD? So what I've done is to get a list of them, the ones I can remember. There are a whole lot. The ones I can remember, of which if you check in my CPD activity account, you see a whole list of them. Okay, so I've been able to extract those things to form a list, which I'll type later on, but I would want to share this with you now. So for you to have an idea and get started. For example, risk assessment. You can use the risk assessment which you prepared as a CPD activity. Okay. Method statement reviews, job hazard analysis, which you prepared. They can form a CPD activity for you as long as you know what to write on your reflective account. Then you can decide to attach the evidence, maybe a copy of it. If you don't have any issues with your company, sharing the company logo and stuff like that, you might decide to remove it. Then internal safety walkthrough, observation reports, which you do. You can, maybe you carried out an internal safety walk, you have an open report, then you have a closed report. So when you start that report, you can go on IOSH website, log that on as one of your CPD activities. For example, like me, I do mine every Sundays. So by Saturday or Sunday, that's 7 days gap, I have to send the closeout, even if I close out within 48 hours. But officially, I send this out. So most times I use this. When I put the beginning, let's say 1st of July, I'll go and put it as started. Then I'll go and do whatever I have to do on site and start tracking it. By the time it's done, at the end, it will come finished. So that you can as well use minutes of meetings, be it as long as you are the one in charge of it, or maybe you attended it and you gained something. With your construction team, execution team, production team, you can use that the minutes on the agenda can form a CPD activity for you. You can also take the attendance or picture if you guys are allowed to take pictures. Safety award presentation photo reports, which all of us, most of us will do this on site. It's an actual CPD activity, which you can as well take because it's part of workers' motivation, incentives, safety culture as well. That's what you're trying to represent in that aspect. Emergency evacuation drills. When you do your drills and prepare the reports, you can use that as your activities. Daily site observation reports. Internal and external HSE, health and safety audit exercise. You can use that as a CPD activity once you complete it, okay? It all depends on what you write, and then you now attach the report. Health and safety campaigns and reports. Work at height campaigns, confined space campaigns, heat stress awareness campaign. Like now we are in the summer period. Most of us are already doing our heat stress campaign. If you plan it very well, you'll be able to use that as one of your CPD activities. Gather the pictures, gather 2 bus stops, whatever you've done. Prepare a short presentation photo report, 10 or 15 slides, and explain it very well. That can go in as your CPD activity. Near miss, accident and incident investigation reports. That can go in as your CPD activity. In-house trainings, as long as you have the photos, presentation slides on that, attendance records will fall in as your CPD activity. External trainings, on-the-job trainings, HSE-related trainings, which you've done, certifications, you know, IOSH, ISO, NABOSH, CSP, CRSP, and what have you, can go in as a CPD activity once you finish it. If you track it very well, when you started to go and put it started, or maybe if you plan to do it, then you put it as planned. When you start, you go and check that date as started. When you complete it, go and change the date again and the status as completed. Then coaching and mentoring exercise for some of us who are into mentoring or who belong to IOSH mentorship programs. If you arrange it very well, you can as well use that as your CPD. Other one here, continuing education, obtaining a degree, obtaining master's or PhD, that as well can be used as your CPD activity. Yeah, course assessments, which we prepare that we use prior to introduction of chemicals on site, that can be used as your CPD activity if you prepare it very well and reflect on it. Preparation, most of us, especially who are in the management level, you prepare policies, procedures, plans, HSE plans, fire safety plan, emergency response plan, traffic management plan, all what have you. That can form as your that can form part of your CPD activity as long as you reflect on it well. Even when you are reviewing it, updating it, it can as well fall in because it's also a practice, an activity which you are doing and which you are benefiting from, right? Then you look at 2 bus stop topics which you prepare and deliver to site. That as well you can use as long as you have the points discussed, because this is what I usually do. Instead of verbally saying it, I prepare like a one page 2 bus stop topic having points discussed. That forms my first page. Pictures of the guys you are giving the presentation forms your second page. Then attendance, you can use that as your CPD activity. Incident review panel meetings, presentations which you attend along with photos and attendance. You can as well use that. Email communications of any of the above items which I've mentioned, as long as you reflect on it very well, that can be used. Training needs analysis, training metrics documents, which you prepared on site, that can be used. IOSH branch meetings, attending meetings, all these meetings. The good thing is Qatar Branch have formed this habit of making sure that every month we have something new to add to the branch. All those meetings are very, very important, brilliant. I will advise you attend those meetings, and that can form an excellent CPD activity for you. Okay. Then you move down to the workshops, conferences, CPD courses we did on, even the CPD workshop. Very funny. This CPD workshop we're doing now can as well form your CPD activity if you write it very well, because yeah, you are learning, you want to learn how to write your CPD. That's an activity for you. And if you reflect on it very well, you can use it, okay? Health and safety alert, HSE alert and communication, along with evidence which you prepare. Site inspection, surveys, medical surveillance, which you've done on site, can be used. Reading or acquiring information from HSE website, IOSH magazines. All of these are wealth of evidence which can form part of your CPD activities. No worries, I will try to type this out and send it to everyone. So I think with this, you don't need to struggle looking for what forms your CPD activity, because what I've mentioned didn't come out of space. This is, if you check most of us, this is what we actually do on daily basis on site. But just that no one have told us that you can actually use this, okay? So now you know that you have your CPD activities in your hands, okay? Yeah, there's one important thing, CPD planner. Let me share this. Yeah, this is another material which I'll be sharing through the IOSH microsite. I think it should be there I don't think it should be there, if not. This is called the IOSH, the CPD Interactive Planner, okay? It's a useful tool. For me, I don't use it because now I formed the habit of updating my CPD every month or every 2 or 3 months, okay? Depending on what is required. Now, this is for those who don't really have the time or who think over a period of 6 months or 3 months or 4 months, they might forget their CPD activities. So this can serve like as a reminder for you, okay? When you have this on your screen, maybe in January you did one activity and you think you want to use it as a CPD activity, but you don't have the time to start typing it. You can quickly go here and fix it in. Then at the end of the quarter, you can come back and now use the summary of the information you've put here and the one you've saved on your system to prepare your CPD, okay? See what it says, set aside 40 minutes. Set aside 40 minutes in your Outlook calendar at the end of each quarter, every 4 months or so. Upload, not every 3 months, yeah. Upload the previous 3 months CPD activities that you have completed. See, put together your reflective statement on each of the following, on each activity, following the reflective statement guidance notes below. That's what you've put down here. You now elaborate on it. It said you are required to complete and enter a minimum of 6 CPD activities per year. It's not quite much. I mentioned more than almost 30 activities. So picking up 6 from there, I don't think is demanding for too much, okay? And there's no maximum number of activities you can enter in a year, but minimum is 6, okay? Then click on the IOSH logo for further CPD guidance. If you think you still don't have much information, then click on the Work 2022 logo for information on the new IOSH strategy, and click on the blueprint logo for information on the blueprint self-assessment tool. That's the self-assessment tool I was talking about, okay? So when you have completed your blueprint self-assessment, you can download your own professional development plan and upload it to your CPD to support your online CPD. This is what I mentioned before. See, first quarter, that's January, February, March, okay? It's a template that allows you typing. This is what I've done so far. Okay, I'll take you to one. Now, for example, let's go through where? I'll fill up that one. Let's go to July, okay? Stress campaign. You right click, new comment. Just a short summary that will serve as a reminder when you want to elaborate it, then you'll be able to expand more on that few words, okay? Organized stress awareness. Campaign for my project to ensure to create more awareness. Okay, yeah, that's it. And that stays, okay? When you put your mouse there, you see, it automatically pops out. Organize stress awareness campaign for. So whatever information you think when you put it, it will give you more knowledge on how to expand. You just write it there. So for me, that's enough. And once you do that, that's one. Once you put that one here, automatically this one counts as one. So, and this happens every month. Every month. So in January, I put 3 activities, and that's 3 for me. In February, 1, in March 1, and the end, I have 5 activities. You see, it will come there automatically. February, the same thing. March, like that until you get to the end. So you can actually get your six CPD activities done here to guard yourself before you even get to the end of the year. So now, number of CPD activities. See, number of CPD activities entered this year, 7. You've crossed the threshold of 6, which is the minimum. Okay, now reflective account guidance said what the activity was, why you carried out the activity, what you felt you gained or learned from completing the activity, how you intend to use it or apply the knowledge going forward. That's what Emmeline have explained, and I've actually showed you what it looks like. Okay. And then that's it. Right to reflective statement and yeah. Okay. Let me check if there's any other information which we need before we move over to the question and answer section. Just a second. Yeah, CPD audit advice. What is this? I'm going to. Okay. I'll be sure there's a 1-page advice on CPD audit. But again, for those who are undergoing category transfer, okay, you are required to pass the CPD audit. What does that imply? You will not just prepare your CPD activities. It has to be professionally done in an acceptable manner by IOSH. It's part of the code of conduct, okay? Before your CPD can pass an audit, it must be well structured. It must follow the pattern which I've just shown you under those titles, well organized, before one single activity can pass. Then if you want to add more life to it, you attach your evidence. Like what I've just showed you. Let me share that again here. Yes, this is what it should look like. You see, for your CPD activity to pass, for one single activity to pass, it must look like this. Well organized. Then make sure that the information you're putting there, it's relevant. Don't just write anything. If you don't need to write 5 paragraphs, don't write 5 paragraphs. If the activity you've done requires 2 or 3 paragraphs, it's enough. The most important thing, it has to be more quality than quantity, okay? Yeah, okay, now we'll start taking questions. Simon, I'll call on my colleague, Simon, to join me in this part of the workshop. Simon, are you online?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please go through the questions and let's see what we can do.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for your excellent presentation. Thank you, Emily in absentia, and Catherine for your moderation. The question I got are from Catherine, and I've not got a direct question. Before I share the question with you, let me say something which I think might help our colleagues to understand the professional development plan. Now, because of the activities you shared with us, all those activities, somebody might be wondering, now where do these activities enter in the professional development plan? So the way I view it is like an executive summary. Consider your professional development plan as an executive summary in a work, Because from what Michael said, it will be beneficial if you have any activity, you can go directly to the microsite and enter it without factoring in where it's going to be in your professional development plan. Maybe towards the end of the year, or if you're going to be having a CPD audit, you can now incorporate those activities into your professional development plan. You know, in executive summary, it comes at the end of the work. That's why I say, because for a beginner, developing your, doing your professional development plan might be very intimidating. So that's why I suggest you can start with the activities and be doing your activities at the point you can do your development plan and incorporate those activities. This is just a personal inspiration I got when Mike was, you know, highlighting those activities.
One more thing. Actually, the CPD activities, it's not something you just generate to add to what you just, it's not something you generate from outer space. It's like your role, mainly part of your daily roles and responsibilities. That's how it comes out. But the thing is, most times we are doing it on site, but we don't even know. Like I had this experience when I joined IOSH in 2017, I think, okay, 2016. When I joined, I had so many activities that have expired more than 2 years. So I was like, what will I do? So they said, you don't have to do anything. This is already your daily activities you do on site. So as you go forward and those things are coming up, then you can use it because the dates have changed. So it's more than 2 years. I won't be able to use it again. All right,
Okay,
thank you.
Okay, I'll give you the first question. My 6-month development plan finished. Then how can I make new plan? Can I separate or edit it? That's the first important question.
Okay, actually, you don't have to separate it, okay? Just one development plan is enough. If you watch mine, it's just one. What changes, it's the content, okay? Excuse me. For example, I've been working as a project HSC manager for quite some time, okay? So that status remains the same. The only thing that changed, it's the projects I've been going in. So what I did below is just to mention those projects. But my roles and responsibilities in all of these projects are the same. I don't have to change it. So it remains the same. Now, what happens is this. In some cases, you might be working as a safety officer, okay? And you get promoted to maybe a safety engineer. That means a lot is changing, both your designation and your roles and responsibilities. Put a date below. If you're watching that video, Emily mentioned it. You put a date below and then start the new one. You don't have to create an entirely new development plan. It's not required. Just put the date below and then start. So IOSH, during the audit, they can actually assess and see how you've demonstrated your growth and how you are progressing while looking at your development plan. I hope I've answered that.
Okay. Uploading files or record in CPD, is it mandatory or is it optional with activities? Please clarify.
Well, it's not mandatory, but I would advise, to give more life to your activity. If it actually, what happens is this: if your CPD activity requires an evidence, then you have to attach it. For example, I can't just end up saying I conducted a risk assessment, writing every lovely message in my reflective account without attaching part of it. Or I end up saying I did a safety walkthrough report, a safety walkthrough on site. After giving all of the explanation or safety inspection, I won't at least put a report of what I've done, or saying that I attended a meeting or I organized a meeting, weekly safety meeting. After that, I just end it up without attaching the minutes of meeting. It's not complete. Whoever that is auditing it will naturally look forward to the actual minutes after reading it, because it's true that the evidence might not be mandatory, but again, it boosts your reflective account. It goes hand in hand. You might put a concrete evidence without giving a proper reflective account, then that makes a mess of the whole evidence. Then you put a concrete reflective account and your evidence doesn't make sense. So it's a two-way thing. So my advice is, if your CPD activity requires an evidence, put the evidence. If it doesn't require it, you don't have to. But most of the things I mentioned here, which is what we do on site, definitely you have an evidence for it. So I would advise you attach the evidence, okay? As long as it's not more than 5 MB.
Okay, Michael, permit me to add a little to your answer.
Okay.
For instance, something like risk assessment, Michael mentioned whether it will be laudable to attach a whole file of a risk assessment. I would suggest we can attach the cover page of a risk assessment where you have prepared by, reviewed by, and so on and so forth, or the approval page of it, provided that maybe our name is there, it will add more validity to our evidence. That's
yeah. There. Another thing, Simon, you know, yes. Some companies have this confidentiality stuff. Yeah. So we might be careful as well, putting a cover page that shows the company.
You mentioned it, and that is taken note of.
Okay.
Okay. Does an IOSH webinar count towards a CPD activity? I know it might be.
Yes, it's part of what I listed.
That's a question now that someone asked. I just asked it for emphasis sake.
Okay, yes.
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Just to add to that, Michael,
okay.
When we used to have the in-person, monthly meetings, IOSH used to ask the attendance sheet as an evidence for to climb as a CPD.
Yes.
Yeah. And especially in the virtual context, whenever you are attending you can take the screenshot of the meetings, okay, and you can attach that as a part of your evidence. Like, you know, this CPD workshop, okay, we usually ask everyone to switch on your camera at the end of the meeting, and we take the screenshot. The attendees can also take the screenshot and click the list of attendees, and you can see the list of parts where your name is there. Take a screenshot of that you can attach as an evidence when you are climbing this particular meeting as an CPD. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. One more question. How can we get the recording of this webinar? How can we get the recording of this webinar? That's a question from a participant.
Well, I have to confirm with IOSH regarding that. But again,
usually what we do is,
okay,
Michael, after every the monthly meetings, okay, what we do is we prepare minutes of the meeting. What was the key agenda of that particular discussion, and including the presentation of that we upload in our mini website, IOSH mini website of Qatar Branch. Okay, currently which is not active. Probably in the coming weeks, which will be inactive. You can access all those presentation materials and the minutes of meeting in the mini site.
Yeah, actually, I was doing that before. If we activate that site, you see the ones I've done. Question and answer sections, all these presentations will be there, but this recording is not there. So Vancat,
recording, no recordings.
No recordings.
And,
presentations, yes. Yeah. Simon, next.
Yeah, I think I have shared most of the question, but this one, it's like, let me still read. Does it require the attached evidence in company format? As it create problem with management and they don't want it? I think you have thrown light on that. Maybe you can just emphasize it.
Yeah, like I said, some companies have this confidential thing which you don't disclose. Company logo, company document outside. So you can as well remove that first page because it's your activity. And based on what you've explained, IOSH will know. And remember the code of conduct when you're talking of integrity. You can't lie, you know. because even when you do it, to reflect on other things. So as long as you're saying the truth, remember, it's your CPD activity. It's no one's activity. No one is checking it. So you have to be as honest as you can. If that happens to be your case, brilliant, it's fine. Remove the cover page or anything that shows your company ownership of the document and then get it uploaded. Yeah.
Okay, this one says, how can we get the sample or templates of the CPD plan
Anna,
which was displayed?
IOSH microsite. Vancat is going to update that, right? We'll be updating that and then we'll share the link so people can have access to it.
We are working on our mini website, that the page, which is currently inactive. In the coming week, it will be activated. You will find all the materials in the site and maybe by end of next week. Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when our time is being exhausted. So
we still have like 28 minutes.
Because the questions are strolling in more now. So I need to screen them out directly from the screen, unlike before when I was copying them and choosing the most important ones.
It's okay.
Yeah. So this person is asking, can we get a scanned copy of our membership certificate? So I don't understand what this question is asking.
A scanned copy of the membership certificate. I don't understand. What membership is he talking of?
I would like to know if we can get a scanned copy of our membership certificate.
I don't think IOSH sends a scanned copy of certificate. You get the ones, for example, if it's grad IOSH, you just obtain your category transfer. They will send it to you after a couple of weeks, depending on the email you receive. You only receive an email confirmation followed with a hard copy of the certificate, or you don't get a scanned copy. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I've not seen that happen.
All right. So be fair to this person. I'll ask the question. You decide whether it is relevant. After achieving grad IOSH, how do we proceed to CM IOSH?
Let me explain, guys. Actually, this is a CPD workshop. Okay. I forgot to say this in the beginning. We have 3 different sections: the CPD workshop, IPD workshop, and then the PRI workshop. Okay. So in each of these workshops, we try to give information, explain, and then answer questions relating to that. So at the moment, what you've asked should be answered in the IPD workshop. And currently, IOSH is working on that particular presentation and information because a lot of changes are ongoing. So I won't be able to give you much of an answer until quite some time when we get full information. Then IPD and all that will go on. But ordinarily, before you ascend from the previous information we have, before you ascend from grad to CM, you have to go through the IPD process. So depending on what your diploma is, that determines your route. And we have this SDP skill development portfolio and the EOA. Okay. So, but again, I wouldn't want to go into that now because this is not the right workshop for it. Thank you.
Okay, somebody wants to know how they can get access to IOSH Qatar Branch microsite.
The executives are working on it.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, you can type IOSH Qatar Branch in the Google, you will find a page. But unfortunately, we are working on the updates. You will see the updates in the coming week soon.
Okay, somebody, sorry, are you done?
Once it is done, we will share that particular link in our WhatsApp group and emails. Whenever you are getting a communication on next meetings, we will add that link to access to the previous minutes of meeting and the presentations.
Okay. Someone is saying that after attending some branch meetings or like this CPD webinar that he's not able to get a confirmation email for attending. So if that happens, how can I produce evidence that I attended?
Okay, first of all, before you register, you don't just register out of space. You receive an email from the committee mailer. Okay, you take that one. That's the first one. Then when you register using that email link and attend this workshop, which you've just done now, at the end, you will be receiving an email, survey email. Okay, so again, these are the things you can use. That registration email, and a confirmation which you received a day before. And again, the survey email as well. So I don't think that should be a problem. If you're seeing all of this email, that's more than enough.
Okay, Rajiv Warrior, I hope you heard Michael answer your question. If what he says is different from your expectation, you let us know. I don't think you can register and attend a webinar organized by the branch without getting that email that confirms that you attended. So this person asks a question which you need to confirm, Michael, whether it is accurate. As I understand, all evidence are valid for up to 2 years until when you make your CPD. If that's correct, he says, so evidence is more than 2 years is not valid? Is that what he's asking?
Yes, correct. Like, for example, today is 16th of July, 2021. Count back, 16th of July, 2020, 16th of July, 2019. You can't use anything beyond this. That's 2 years. Yes.
Okay. For the CPD, right?
Yes. Remember, I explained this. I had this same issue when I joined IOSH. I had a whole bunch of CPD activities which I could have used, but they were more than 2 years, so I couldn't use them. So I started afresh to implement what I've done.
Honestly, I'm not aware of this, so it's a new knowledge for me. What I thought was IPD. When you're doing your IPD, there are evidences that are not admissible.
Same applies to
affect
CPD.
CPD too.
Same applies to CPD. You don't want to put something from 10 years ago as a
Yeah.
CPD activity. I mean, you know.
Okay, decide on this. Somebody wants to be added to the Qatar WhatsApp group and he shares his number. How could that be?
Vankat, is it possible to share the link in the chat box?
The reason why we are not opened up is, there are a lot of non-IOSH members are also joining that by clicking that link. You understand?
Okay.
If I share the link, what happens that you can share that link with anyone else. What is happening is, even they are not member of IOSH, they are joining into the group, which we don't want to do, which is not good as per the code of conduct.
Okay.
So only for that reason we are troubling. If you are a member of IOSH and you are working in Qatar, please reach out to any of our Qatar IOSH branch members. We will check and add you into the Qatar branch. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
This question, let me ask it. Whether in the development plan, it is required to report the goals and objectives achieved. Are they required to be mentioned and those not accomplished repeated, such as training?
Say again.
In the development plan, it is required. Is it required to report the goals and objectives achieved? Are they required to be mentioned and those not accomplished repeated?
Yes. If you check, okay, yeah, because I'm not sharing before and after.
Yeah.
There's one personal development goal which I have. This to write a CSP. I had that from last year.
Yes.
I've not achieved that, so I keep bringing it forward. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a problem. Then Once you've completed it, you can put in bracket completed. If you want to keep it. If you don't want, you've done it, it goes out, you put the new ones. But that has to come in now in your CPD reflective account part. Yes.
Okay.
In your CPD activity section.
Okay, so the person that asked the question, take note of that. And another way you can do that is with your activity record.
Yes.
Because, yeah, any
Completed.
activity you have started and you've not completed it, if you have a target date when you expect to complete it and yet it's not done, you can do what? Still go there and extend the date to cover for your expected period when you're going to complete it.
Correct.
All right, so this person is asking, please, how long does it take for a CPD program to be completed and audited by IOSH?
Does this, okay. Normally, whether you are doing a category transfer or not, randomly, IOSH picks up accounts and audit them. This is when you receive this, especially when you've stayed for a very long time, you've not updated your CPD, you receive a message that's reminding you to go and update your CPD. This is one option. Another option, when you're going for category transfer, for that one, you don't have any date. Another option is this. When you're going for category transfer from grad to CM, okay? Then you finish your, that's why I keep telling people, before you start your IPD, make sure that your CPD is up to date, okay? Because what happens is this, by the time you finish your IPD, the next message you receive is, congratulations, you have completed your, you have completed your IPD process, stuff like that. Now your CPD will be audited. From the very moment you receive that email, the next day your CPD could be audited. There's no more notification or any range. The next message you'll be receiving that you have passed your CPD or you have failed your CPD audit. That's the next thing. If you receive that you've passed, which I expect from everyone, then they'll ask you to go to the next phase, which is booking for your peer review interview. So that's what happens. There's nothing like 6 months or 1 year or so. So that's the two scenarios. One, random CPD audit, which is conducted on every bona fide member of IOSH is updating their CPDs at intervals. Two, you receive an email if you are not doing this over a long period of time. Three, if you are doing a category transfer from grad to CM, then after your IPD, immediately you get an email telling you your CPD will be audited. But it will happen. Then the next email you receive, it's done. You passed or you failed. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Do we still have time?
Yes, we have 12 minutes.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, for this person that asked this question, I'll have to read it and maybe it will help him understand more. Otherwise, I think you have answered it. Does the development plan need to change 6 monthly or does it remain the same? And we need to change our objectives.
I think this is part of what I explained before.
This is the first
I told you from most of the questions are repeated.
I just asked it so that the person will feel nice.
Yeah, but again, let's not miss questions which has not been asked. This is another thing. As I explained earlier, there is an interval of CPD activity, okay? It's either you choose 3 months, depending on how you want it, 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months. But the maximum is 12 months because what IOSH says is in an interval of 12 months, you are required to have 6 activities, right? So if you are doing a 1-year plan, then every 1 year you have to update if there are actual changes. If you are doing 6 months like myself, then every 6 months, you have to update if there are actual changes. Like for me, my first 6 months ended in 30th of July. Then I moved forward to the second one, which will end on 31st of December. So I've updated my development plan to reflect whatever plans I have for the next 6 months and whatever goals or objective I plan to achieve, personal development for the next 6 months. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Catherine, you wanted to add something?
Sorry, I just wanted to add to what Michael was saying on the continuous professional development, just to say that outside of going forward for chartered membership, it is continuous. You have to keep it going all the time. That's the whole point about it. It's not, I've developed myself. You need to keep on doing it for the whole of your career. That's all.
I would like to add here, yes, what it was mentioned is very correct. I've done my CMIOSH when I was going for fellowship last year. There was an audit for my CPD, and I received a page of comments how you can better, you are maintaining your CPD, but at the same time, how you can improve the quality of the CPD. Yeah. So I had to, redo all my and correct all the CPD. Then the audit was successful. Then only I was allowed to get into my fellowship interview. So it is really important, even after fellowship, it is important to maintain the CPD as it is a continuous. Whenever you are going for any kind of election, for you are standing for the council member, or even in the branch, you are standing as an election officer or the executive committee, your CPD will be reviewed and checked. So it is important to maintain throughout your career.
Okay.
Thank you, Vanka.
At this point, I don't have any question in my database.
Okay.
Okay. If there are no more questions coming in, I think.
May I request all of you to switch on your camera? We will take a group picture. It's been a long, we have not taken a group picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really glad to see more than 60 members are attending this CPD workshop. It's really, really encouraging for us from the branch executive committee. Yeah. So smile, please. Keep smiling. That's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Hold on, something else. Okay.
Yeah. So, Michael, if there are no more questions,
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through the chat to see if there's anything from my own. Maybe I got some private.
I think Simon has moderated all the questions. So,
yeah. No,
Zubair, you want to say anything? Zubair, you want to say anything? Okay. I saw your hands are raised.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, there's no.
If there are no more questions, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Michael for taking your time and detailedly briefing the CPD exercise. Thanks to Catherine for your time and the coordinating. And we need to thank MLN for that YouTube video, and she did a fantastic job. That is a wonderful resource for all of us. Whenever we talk about CPD workshop, we run that video. Thank you very much to all the attendees for throughout the session. It's more than 1.5 hours now, and you've been continuously attending and listening to that. Thank you very much. I'm sure it was quite informative to all of you. I encourage all of you to maintain your CPD and come out with the flying colors in terms of your upgrading your categories. We want more chartered memberships in our branch. We want more fellowships. Yeah, when you grow, we feel that we are also part of your growth, and it gives an immense satisfaction as a volunteer of IOSH Qatar Branch. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Vanka.
Thank you, Michael.